Let me first just try to clean up a few things. In his very fine opening statement, Chairman Brady got to a point where he said he was hopeful you would enlighten the committee on 6 specific points. There's no time for you to answer those. I would like to submit those questions as my questions for the record and ask you if you will answer them on the record. Will you do that?
I'd be glad to do so.
And the last point is about the transparency, which I think is a very fine question. Also, I understand your reluctance to be tied down to specific predictions of when this or that will happen. But I do think we got a yes from you on one thing, and that is when the asset purchase program will end. As I understand it, you have a set of expectations for the rest of the year. And if those expectations are met, you expect the asset purchase program to end this fall. Is that a yes?
That is correct. If the labor market continues to recover and we continue to see the evidence is pointing to inflation moving up over time to 2, the committee is likely to continue taking further steps that would end the program next fall.
In the fall of this year?
Correct.
Okay. And so Senator Klobuchar said she saw no sign of a rise in inflation in the foreseeable future. You don't agree with that, and ideally inflation should increase to 2%, and that would be a better result as far as you're concerned.
2% is the committee's longer-term objective, and we would not want to see a persistent deviation either below or above 2%.
Okay, good.
So it won't be at that level at every moment, but we expect it to move up gradually over time back toward 2%.
Great. You mentioned during your testimony today maximum employment and full employment. Would you just define those for the committee?
I'm using those terms interchangeably. Maximum employment is the wording that's used in the Federal Reserve Act. It's our goal that Congress is defined for us, and I'm using the term full employment for short.
What is, could you reduce that to a percentage rate? What is maximum employment?
So I interpret maximum employment as meaning a level of employment in the labor market where people are able in a reasonable amount of time to gain work for which they're qualified.
For today's purposes, you're not going to put a percentage point.
I'm not going to put a percentage point on
that. Now, in terms of economic and income inequality, and let's get back to the Meltzer article in today's Wall Street Journal. He suggests that actually the policies of the Obama administration and the Federal Reserve are responsible for the income inequality. And he says, ironically, despite often repeated demands for increased redistribution to favor middle and lower income groups, the policies pursued by the Obama administration and supported by the Federal Reserve have accomplished the opposite. He goes on to say, voters should recognize that goosing the stock market through very low interest rates, not to mention the subsidies and handouts to cronies, have contributed to that result. We'll leave the subsidies for another discussion, but don't you acknowledge, Dr. Yellen, that the interest rates which you've achieved have driven people to the stock market, therefore goosing the stock market and contributing to this maldistribution of income?
Well, I would not deny that the level of interest rates affects the stock market. I would hardly endorse the term goosing the stock market. We have no target for stock prices. The policies that we've undertaken are meant to ease financial conditions in a whole variety of ways that will be conducive to generating greater spending, and greater spending means that we create jobs throughout the economy. So to think of that as something that is promoting an increase in income inequality, I would take issue with. I think a stronger economy brings benefits to a wide variety of households throughout the economy, including lower-income households who are gaining jobs. So we do probably have an impact on the stock market. We also have an impact on housing prices. And house prices have come back up again, and for so many households, middle-income households, that's their most important asset. And that return of house prices to more normal levels, I think has been a major benefit to many, many American households. They have seen themselves move from situations where they're underwater on their mortgages to being back in the black, and it also helps give them access to credit if they want to send a kid to school or have an emergency or want to start a small business. And so there have been benefits in this policy and the policies we've pursued for Main Street as well as for those who hold equities in their portfolios.
Thank you.